Oh my God! Hey folks, ammo lovers and sharpshooters. Ever notice the world of bullets and brass getting a little too quiet for comfort? Well, hang on to your hats, 'cause we're fixin' to ride straight into an ammo shortage that's sneaking in faster and hitting harder than you'd ever believe. The shelves ain't just thinning out, they're looking darn near picked clean. And this time, it ain't some panic buying mess or a viral hashtag lighting the fuse. Nope, it's way bigger than that. We're talking about a little-known metal by the name of antimony. That's right. The unsung workhorse that stiffens your lead, sparks your primers, and helps keep your barrel from looking like a soot-filled stovepipe. Now, here's the kicker. Its price just shot up by 300% in 2024, blowing past gold and even Bitcoin. And the United States? We don't make a single ounce of the stuff. Nothing. Not one bit. So now what happens when every single primer we count on depends on a metal we flat out can't get? And just to heap it on, NATO's throwing around $100 billion ammo contracts like candy at a parade, scooping up the global supply before most of us can even blink. We're breaking it all down, caliber by caliber, shining a light on 5 iconic rifle rounds already hanging on by a thread. Believe me, when I tell you, you do not want to get caught empty when the ammo dries up. Want to stay in the know and keep your stash squared away? Hit that like button and subscribe. I've got your 6 through all this mess. Oswald. Legs, nee. 30-06 Springfield. The granddaddy of hunting rounds is sitting on life support. You know the 30-06? That's the cartridge your granddad swore by, the one that's been dropping deer, elk, and moose since long before you were even a thought. Just 1 year back, you could wander into any big box store and pick up a 60-round bulk pack of 150 grain soft points for about $49. That's 82 cents every time you squeeze the trigger. Not bad, right? Well, fast forward to today, and you'd be lucky to spot a single box of Winchester sitting on the shelf. And it's going to run you $62. Oof. But here's the rub: that sticker shock is just the tip of the iceberg. Behind the scenes, we're dealing with a perfect storm of supply chain hell. China slammed the gate on antimony exports. Brass prices are climbing thanks to tariffs. And every ammo plant across the country is flat out trying to keep up with NATO contracts for .308 and 6.5 Creedmoor. The 30-06? It's an afterthought these days, only getting floor time after the military stuff gets squared away. And if you're a handloader, you're feeling the pinch too. Lake City used to dump out truckloads of once-fired brass from training ranges, but that pipeline's gone bone dry. New Starline cases? They're back-ordered 3 months and cost 42 cents a piece. Primers? Good luck. Most little shops will only let you walk out with 100 a day, and you'll be paying $8 a sleeve. That's double what you paid back in 2022. But here's the deal. The 30-06 ain't just another cartridge. It's the backbone of every used rifle rack from here to Tennessee. Savage 110s, Remington, 700s, Model 70s. They all need full-power hunting loads, not that watered-down M1 Garand fodder. And them 150-grain soft points, still your go-to for deer. 165s and 180-grain loads. They'll handle the big boys like elk. But if you're hunting in a non-lead zone, well, you're stuck paying $54 for a box of copper 150-grain polymer-tipped rounds. That's $2.70 every time you pull the trigger. And they're flying off shelves, 'cause most guides these days won't let you hunt without them. Now look, I get it, $300 for a stash of hunting and practice ammo feels steep. But trust me on this, you do not want to be that guy in September calling every shop in town begging for a box, while the clerk tells you next shipment might land in November. Maybe, if you're lucky. So do yourself a solid. Grab them boxes now, even if it stings a little, 'Cause once that current stock dries up, it's game over. Yo so, 270 Winchester, the underdog that's getting kicked while it's already down. Folks used to say the 270 Winchester was that one caliber that always hung in there, even when election year panic cleaned the shelves bare. Well, not these days. See, the 270 shares its brass with the 30-06, so every supply chain gut punch that hits the 30-06 smacks the 270 even harder. And here, in 2025, it's already on wobbly legs. I checked in with a regional distributor, and their pallet counts show just one case of 270 for every 4 cases of Creedmoor. Retail prices have crept up from $34 to $46 for a 20-round box of 130 grain soft points. That's a 35% bump. But here's where it stings selections drying up fast. Federal quietly dropped its 150 grain Power Shock line last winter, blaming brass shortages and soft demand. Nosler's scaling back on partitions, nudging hunters toward their higher dollar AccuBond stuff. At $69 a box, that's $3.50 a shot if you want a premium pill. So, why's all this happening? Simple. Ammo plants are picking favorites. Every time they switch calibers, it eats up time and costs money. With copper, zinc, and lead prices spiking, the bean counters are saying, to hell with it, let's just focus on the rounds that make the most money. So the 270 ends up sitting the bench while the flashy kids like 6.5 PRC and 6.8 Western hog the spotlight. And it ain't just the factories. Bullet makers are seeing new rifle buyers drift toward those trendy calibers, so they're cranking out fewer 277 projectiles. That means higher prices and less to go around for folks loyal to the 270. Brass ain't much better. New Winchester cases used to run you 29 cents a piece. Now they're up to 51. Thinking about scrounging range brass? Forget it. Most indoor ranges are recycling everything to help keep the lights on, so that well's dried up. If you're a dyed-in-the-wool Jack O'Connor kind of hunter, now's the time to move. Snag 2 boxes of 130 grain interlocks or 140 grain controlled expansion loads before summer sets in. Yeah, $50 for 20 rounds feels like a punch in the gut, but waiting for a holiday sale? Don't waste your breath. Stores hike prices on hunting rounds come October. Get your zero dialed in August and squirrel away a few extras for next season. Trust me, you'll be glad you did. Thage. 3030 Winchester. The lever gun king is running on fumes. The 3030 Winchester. That lever action legend that's been putting venison on the table since the 1800s. If you're a fan of cowboy rifles or just love the feel of a Marlin or Winchester in your hands, odds are you're already feeling the pinch. 2 years back, you could walk into just about any chain store and see those dull green core-locked boxes stacked shoulder high, sitting at a fair price $21 for 20 rounds. Hell, it was almost too easy. But fast forward to today, and those same stores are slapping up handwritten signs saying 3030 limit 1 box. And even then, you're shelling out $42 for Hornady's polymer-tipped loads twice what you paid before the world went sideways. So what the hell happened? Well, it's a mix of bad timing and new rules. Some recent straight wall cartridge regulations in places like Ohio and Michigan have lit a fire under lever gun sales. Now suddenly, everyone and their brother wants a Marlin or Henry for deer season, and those backlogs? They're stretching into 6 months. Every new rifle means at least a couple boxes of ammo. And unlike AR shooters who'll burn through cheap steel case stuff, lever gun folks are stuck with domestic brass-cased rounds. No imports here, buddy. That means you're at the mercy of copper prices, hovering near $5 a pound. And don't forget that 25% tariff on Chinese steel jackets. It's a recipe for pain. But here's the real gut punch. Ammo plants only schedule 3030 runs in late spring, so shops can stock up before rifle season hits. If there's a hiccup like Say, gallium export controls messing with primer mixes. There just ain't time to catch up. The line doesn't run again until the next year, because they've already switched gears to cranking out 7.6 2x51 NATO, or 556 for Uncle Sam. And if you're thinking, I'll just reload, better think again. Once fired brass used to go for 11 cents a pop. Now those bins are bone dry, and new Starline brass, 44 cents a case. Flat-nosed bullets? Oh, scarce as hen's teeth, 'cause the component makers are too busy churning out pointy .308 projectiles that sell faster. Let's break it down for deer season. A typical woods hunter fires off 3 rounds to confirm 0, maybe 2, in the field. That's 5 rounds, 3/4 of a $42 box. You've got 15 left for practice. But if you burn through those, you're back at the shop crossing your fingers another shipment shows. Spoiler, it probably won't. So here's my advice. Snag at least 3 boxes right now, even if it means coughing up over $100. A year from now, a single box might set you back $70 if tariffs and antimony shortages keep squeezing the pipe. Don't say I didn't warn you. 243 Winchester. The do-it-all caliber that's getting picked clean. The 243 Winchester is like that dependable buddy who's always around till one day he ain't. At first glance, it don't look too bad. Some of those online ammo sites still show it at 75 cents a round. And a few small town shops might still have a couple dusty boxes sitting on the back shelf. But look a little closer, and them cracks start showing. Federal's well-loved 100-grain non-lead load ain't shipped since January. Why? 'Cause the antimony-free primer mix needs gallium, and China's sliced gallium exports in half this year. So now, component folks are holding on to what little they got for calibers that sell out quicker than a snow machine in November. Now, here's the rub. The 243's biggest strength is also its soft underbelly. It's a dual-purpose round, works just as fine on varmints as it does on deer. That means, come springtime, coyote callers are scooping up 58-grain VMAX by the case, draining the shelves. Then, when August rolls in, deer hunters show up hunting for 95 or 100-grain loads, and all they find is a row of bare pegs. Retailers try to play it smart, ordering half pallets way back in March. But supply chains are stretched thin, and those orders get cherry-picked by prairie dog folks before September's even in sight. So by the time you're brushing off your camo for deer season, all that's left is 55-grain varmint stuff, which any half-decent whitetail hunter won't touch with a 10-foot pole. Brass ain't any better. New Winchester cases are running 43 cents each now, and if you're thinking of necking down once-fired .308, well, you'll need a form die and a power trimmer, and that rig'll run more than 2 full cases of loaded hunting ammo. Bullets? Same old story. Match shooters chasing 6mm BR and 6mm Creedmoor are sucking up all the sleek, high BC 105-grain projectiles. So Sierra and Hornady are cranking those out, not the 95-grain deer bullets you're after. And let's not forget factory loads need large rifle primers, which are running short too. You guessed it, antimony again. Here's the bottom line. If you don't load up now, you'll be paying boutique prices later. Vista Outdoor's latest investor call laid it out plain. Legacy small batch calibers. Yeah, that means 243 are going to feel the squeeze till at least the first quarter of 2026. Translation? Buy now. Or wish you had. For a regular old deer camp, you'll want 1 box to confirm your 0, 1 for the hunt, and 1 for backup. That used to cost you $60. Now it's more like $140. Wait till September, and you might be staring at empty hooks with a laminated sign that says, "Call for ETA." Don't be that guy. Buy early, store it right, and you'll thank me when them leaves start turning. Ishabal. Can't sell the nay heroin, sorry. Do Australia. Neo Hauro. Biabritate. 4570 government. The big bore thumper, that's beaten the hell out of your wallet? Let's sit down and talk about the 4570 Government, the ultimate bruiser of a cartridge, brush-busting, bear-thumping, no-nonsense firepower. Used to be just for the old-timers and the black powder crowd. But now, these new Marlin 1895s with threaded barrels and scout scopes have kicked off a full-blown comeback. And every one of those rifles gulps down rounds that cost more to build than 3 boxes of 5.56. Why? Well, each 405-grain hardcast bullet pulls close to a full ounce of lead alloy, and it don't stop there. They've got to mix in antimony so that slug don't go leading up your bore. And with antimony now sitting above $13,100 per metric ton, 3 times what it was last year, that alone adds 21 cents to every round before you even start counting brass, powder, or labor. So what's that mean when you're standing at the counter? Just 2 years back, Hornady's Lever Revolution 325-grain flex tips went for $48.99 a box. Now, $63.50. That's $3.18 every time you pull the trigger. Buffalo Boars Plus P 430-grain bear loads, they're north of $85. And here's the real kick in the teeth. Midwest outfitters who guide trips to Alaska are snapping up every shipment, leaving nothing for the hog hunter down in Texas or Georgia. Production ain't looking any better. The ammo line's got to stop, retool for large rim, straight wall brass, recalibrate for 405-grain powder charges, and tighten up the crimp. That whole changeover only happens once every quarter. So if you miss a run, you're sitting tight for 3 months or more. And large rifle magnum primers? Good luck. The military's sucking them up to feed 338 Norma and 300 Win Mag sniper rounds. You're at the back of the line. Now, if you're the reloading type, you might think you've got an ace in the hole, but it ain't as cheap as you remember. Starline brass is running 78 cents a case, and those hardcast bullets that were 34 cents each last winter are now 60. By the time you add powder and primers, your cheap reload is still $1.30 per round. Factory stuff, you won't see it below $2.50 again unless metal's tanking. With all these new export clampdowns, that dream's floating away fast. So here's how it shakes out. Every lever gun owner ought to have at least 60 rounds for defense and 40 for practice. That kit used to cost you $200 back in 2023. Now it's pushing $380, and good luck finding it. I've heard of folks driving 2 hours to some tourist town outfitter in the Rockies only to pay $80 for a single box because the guide insists on deep penetrating solids for elk. If you've got a 4570, that clock's ticking louder than for any other caliber. Best move is to buy enough for 2 seasons and keep it dry and dark. If prices drop later, great, stock up some more. But if the bottom drops out of supply, and it just might, your lever gun turns into one mighty fine-looking club. Look, I ain't trying to spook anybody, but the signs are everywhere. The ammo crunch ain't some far-off worry. It's already here, and it's just getting tighter. Whether you're running 30-06, 270, 30-30, or 45-70, the time to make your move is now. Lock in what you need before you've got no choice but to hope and wait. Because once those shelves go bare, it won't just be the price that hurts, it'll be the plain old fact you can't get any at all. So, how's it looking where you are? Still finding your go-to hunting rounds, or are they already dry as a sun-baked creek bed? Drop a comment and let me know. I'm real curious. And if this helped you get ahead of the storm, give it a like, hit subscribe for more ammo updates, and ring that bell so you don't miss the next heads up. Stay sharp, stay stocked, and I'll catch you down the trail.